Douglas Bickford. I am teaching self-esteem on YouTube because nobody teaches this one simple concept of how to attain self-esteem. Self-love is what they call it. It's how you feel about yourself. We all have we all have this emptiness inside. I used to have it. I don't have it anymore because this one simple concept. All you got to do is look at yourself in the mirror and say, I love you. And say it for the rest of your life. Say it as many times as you want. The more you say it, the more you feel it, the more you believe it. And you just keep doing that. And then get the book, The Portable Therapist. It's in the description. In the link in the description of this video down there. Okay. It was written by Susanna McMahon, who is a psychiatrist. She has a doctorate in psychology. Okay. I don't know if she's still doing it or whatever. I have no idea. But you can get the book. I highly suggest you get the book, read it for yourself. I'm going through chapter by chapter of the book, The Portable Therapist. And you can like, sub me, and share these very important life-changing videos. And this is the next chapter. It's called, it's chapter 57. And it's called, How Can I Stop Abusing Alcohol, Drugs, Food, Sex, Others, Myself? Question marks. Abuse is always an addictive behavior. We abuse things in order to stop the pain of life and to make us momentarily feel better, stronger, more in control, or to escape from the reality of our lives. Because abusive behavior gives us a sense of control or fosters the illusion of escape for the moment. We repeat the behavior. But abuse always generates guilt, and guilt produces a vicious circle. It is like a snake with a tail in its mouth, which was discussed earlier in an earlier question about guilt. We do something that we know is wrong or bad. Then we feel guilty about it, and this feeling of guilt is a panacea. At first, we are relieved that we are feeling guilty, because that means that we are really not bad people, because we have learned that bad people do not feel guilt. But after a while, the guilt keeps growing and the pain of the guilt becomes intolerable. Then we begin to externalize and justify our guilt. We say things like, I wouldn't have done that if he hadn't done what he did, or she made me do that, or they just don't understand me. All too soon, our rationalizations or defenses begin to sound so reasonable and our behavior so justified that we do it again. This is a vicious circle of addiction, guilt, justification, and more addiction. This is the circular snake. All addictions, all abuse of self or others have one thing in common. They are all a product of insecurity about yourself. They are all a way to try to externalize your lack of love for yourself. You cannot love yourself and behave in loving ways to yourself and also abuse yourself. You cannot really love others and abuse them and yourself around them. All abuse, all addictions are first and foremost self-centered. They mean that you are perceiving the world only through the eyes of your own needs. They mean that your insecurities, your weak ego, are so powerful that they totally control your behaviors. The most successful interventions for abusive and addictive behaviors are those that replace the destructive behavior with a constructive one. In other words, you replace a bad addiction with a good addiction. Alcoholics replace the alcohol with AA. Drug addicts replace the drug with a 12-step program. So it is with food, sex, and other forms of abuse. The abusive behaviors are replaced with a constructive behavior. 12-step programs work because they fill the void when you decide to give up the addiction. They give you something else to focus upon, and they give you a place to spend your time and energy. You can fill that void by saying, I love you in the mirror, folks, and saying it every day as soon as you see that, me say that to you. Say it over and over, repeat it in the mirror to yourself. I love myself. I love you. And the more you say it, the more you feel it, and the more that void will get filled. I promise you it happened to me. There's something else that the supportive group gives you that may even be more important than replacing the addiction. The group gives you an encouraging environment, which is essential to avoid the discouragement that the addiction feeds upon. These 12-step programs become role models for how to stop the self-abuse. They accept you as you are, a human in pain, and they do not expect you to be perfect. Rather, they emphasize that you cannot be perfect and that you can turn yourself and your addiction over to a higher power. You do not have to be strong in order to conquer your addiction. You do not have to become perfect. 12-step programs are an excellent way to learn self-esteem. But you can learn self-esteem just by doing the one simple concept I just told you. And once you get self-esteem, you won't drink anymore. It'll cure you of your addiction, or you do drugs, or any of your addiction, TV, another person. It happened to me, folks. It's all real. Okay. 12-step groups, like all good support groups, are very powerful therapy. They are more powerful than the addiction and the self-abuse if you let them be. By accepting you as you are, the group teaches you to accept yourself. By encouraging you to be the best you can be, the support group becomes a positive role model for self-love. I attained it without going to any groups or anything, just by the one simple concept I just told you about. So if you don't want to go to a group and all that, just start saying that in the mirror, folks. I guarantee you it'll work. And this is Douglas Bickford. You can get a hold of me at douglasbickford753@gmail.com. And I will have another round of healing from the portable therapist. And get the book. It's in the link, please. You can afford it. It's cheap. And read it for yourself. But I'll have another round of the portable therapist for you